Hello, my friends around the world. Welcome to another episode of MTD CNC Global. I am so excited to spend time with Bill Hardy today, and as you can see, from Hardy Machine. This company was founded in 1957 in a basement by Bill Hardy's dad. Now, we're going to go into a little bit more detail about who they are, the machines they have, how many machines, the growth that's happened since that time. And I have Bill here with me to discuss a little bit about that. Bill, thank you so much for being a part of MTD CNC Global.
My pleasure. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Bill, share with our audience a little bit about Hardy Machine, how you guys started, and where you are today.
So my father started the business sort of by accident, if you will, in his basement. He was working full-time at a machine shop and part-time at home. He left his full-time job, got home, tried to finish up a few jobs that he was behind on. We're still trying to finish up some jobs that we're behind on. But one of his ex-co-workers came to visit him one day shortly after he started his own business and told him he wanted to work for him. So he came, worked for him, and then they talked him into hiring another guy. And that gentleman started in 1958 and retired in 1996.
Wow.
The third employee was hired in 1963. He retired in 2007. So the longevity was there. My dad had the business in his basement, so I was literally born into this business. We were in this basement for 25 years, put on 2 additions onto the house, and built 2 two-car garages to store material. And we had like 7 employees and half a dozen Bridgeports, a half a dozen engine lathes, a couple turret lathes in the basement. I left him and went and worked at another machine shop for 4.5 years. During high school and right out of high school, my father decided to move out of his basement, and he bought some land and built a building in 1982. At that point, I came back to work for him again as a lead in the shop. We bought our first CNC mill. I learned how to run that. I taught someone else how to run it. We bought a CNC lathe. I learned how to run that. Taught someone else how to run it. We kept doing that like once or twice a year throughout the 80s into the 90s. We had vertical mills. We had turret lathes, we had screw machines, and I kind of at that point grew out of the actual running of machines, and I was just running the business. We outgrew that building several times, put a couple additions on it, and then in 2007, 2008, we had a couple of really good years. The real estate market was tanking, so I bought a 40,000 square foot building. So we moved out of 12,000 square feet, moved into a 40,000 square foot building, which we're standing in here today. I revamped the whole place to exactly what I wanted, and we're in 30,000 square feet and growing into the 10,000 square feet in the back. Today we have 32 CNC machines and 32 employees. Basically everybody runs 2 machines, do their own programming, do their own setups, and we keep buying new machines as they keep getting better so we can keep challenging them. And it's worked so far. We've been here for 60 plus years and we're still growing.
Yeah, well, walking around with you, there are so many layers to this Hardy Machine onion to me. The fact that you started in a basement, for 25 years they were there, went into 10,000 square feet.
Yeah, we started out at 7,200, ended up at
7,200, now we're at
30,000.
30,000 and constantly growing. You went with 1 machine, now you're at 32 machines, 32 employees. I know your employees mean a lot to you. It's really a family-driven business, which I think is important. But also knowing, coming from the basement and seeing some of the most amazing machines we have on this planet here in one facility, going from the Nakamuras and the Robo Drills and the Moris, so on and so forth, right? These are really great machines. So it's obvious that you're spending a lot of time, effort, and knowledge into understanding how this market works on many different levels to come full circle to that onion of not just machining, but the personalities of the people, the family-generated business, understanding of growth and what return on investment will get you. So, I know that's kind of a long segue, but let's first start with how much you value the people that you work with and the family that it's grown from.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I was born into this business, so the employees were friends of mine from day one. The guys that retired in 96, 2007, 2017, I've known for 40 years. So it was my family. And they treated me like family. So, and my father inbred it into me to treat everybody like family. There was no boss and worker. We were workers. We did what we needed to do. My father always used to tell me, he said, do what's right, do what the customer wants. Everything else will take care of itself. So I try to do that throughout every part of my business, whether it's who I'm buying the machine tool from, or who's going to run the machine tool, or who the parts are for at the end. It's do the right thing, value them, all of them, and what their values are. So we have a business to run. We obviously want to be profitable, but we have to love what we're doing, and that goes from every aspect of the business. It's very important to challenge them, and we have a culture here, and we want people who fit into that culture. And I think I really learned that in the 1990s, where I was hiring for talent and I was firing for culture. It was awful.
Right.
And I went through a spell there and dealing with some of my top employees on why I was making these moves and who I was firing and who I was looking to hire. But you have to bring people in who fit. And every company, every family is different. We have a culture here, we have a family here, and I have expectations. And I want the right people. We can teach if you want to learn. And if you have what it takes to do what needs to be done, you can come in here and succeed. I like to say everybody has their own ceiling. What that means is we'll hire you to a job. If you get better, we'll give you the harder work. We'll teach you more. We'll send you to class to learn how to program, on computers, CAD/CAM systems. We'll buy new equipment. We have some old equipment here because it works and it fits the need. And we have some really new modern equipment here because the guys that are running it want to run other things they want to grow. And I think that's really, really important. I don't just want people to think, I expect them to think. I empower them to do what they think is right, and I expect them to think about that at multiple levels. Like, what's the best thing for the company? What's the best thing for the customer? What can I do to make things better? I mean, we're not quote unquote engineers here. We're not design engineers, but we do know how to make parts, and we know how to make parts better, maybe faster, maybe quicker, but better. Again, the money usually takes care of itself one way or another, at least. But the idea here is to run a very successful business and bring in the people to help do that. And that's, I think, part of our success, or maybe a lot of our success, is the constant thinking, the constant improvement. My father also always said, if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards. So I take a lot of that into consideration. I truly respected the guy I worked for 4.5 years when I did not work for my father, and he taught me a lot also. And I think he probably knew I was going to leave and come back to my dad before I did. So he was mentoring me for that position, and I didn't even know it. But I think it's a lot of good things to do, and we start out with kids out of high school, or we start out with people in the middle of a career that are looking to grow, and we provide that opportunity.
Yeah, you touched on a lot of subjects that I think are incredibly valuable. Now, what I want to touch on is, if I'm a young man and I'm looking for a career path, and I see some of these machines here, and I'm seeing the automation that's around me, and these lathes with B-axis machining like the Nakamura's, and I see an opportunity to not just come into the workforce, but be a part of the most forefront activities of the workforce. I know I'm learning state-of-the-art machinery that is going to allow me to become a greater machinist that probably I got into the field with to begin with anyway. Mm-hmm. And so, based on that, I know you work with some of the local schools around here. You give tours from time to time. Some guys came in, made some trucks, I think was pretty cool.
Yes.
So there's a constant desire and need for quality people, but I think you provide a home for those kind of people.
Yeah, we do. We try. The high school kids is where we're really focusing on again now. They have a lot of good tech schools. They're teaching the computer side of it. They're teaching the programming side of it. So we did a high school tour a couple of years ago, and I really spent some time with our programmers here at the shop. We made drawings for some trucks. Then we set up like 5 different machines to make the axles, make the lug nuts, make the wheels, make the tires, make the body of a truck. And we ended up making a truck about 6 inches long, 2 or 3 inches high, basically a miniature monster truck. So when these high school kids came in, we showed them the drawings, then we took them around all the different machines where these parts were being made, and they got a truck with their name on it to take home at the end of the day. It's something that was very, very memorable for them, and I think it was obviously very memorable for me and the guys that put some time in here at work. And it took a lot of time away from production, but it emphasized who we are. And if we're going to take the time to bring these kids in, we're going to do something special. And that's the way I like to do everything, is do something special. There's a lot of machine tools out there for sale. There's a lot of people out there that want to be machinists or are machinists. What differentiates us from other people is the culture and the want. We want to be different. Everybody can make the part. Some people can make it cheaper than us, but they're not going to get any better service than what we try to provide.
I love that. I love everything that you just said. That's fantastic. I want to move a little bit into 32 machines, 32 people. I want to learn a bit more about what Hardy Machine does. I know you work very closely with the guys at Maruka. Most of your machines here come from working very closely with Maruka. And you already mentioned I like to treat my employees and my partnerships in a very similar way as like a family-oriented thing. But 32 machines, 32 people. What do you guys make here?
So we make whatever our customers will pay us for. There's the short and sweet answer. But I think we found somewhat of a niche over the years where a lot of our parts go into the fluids and gas, liquids, monitoring, measuring, metering, pumps, gauges, monitors, dental gases, dental fluids, industrial gas, inert gases for the semiconductor industry, the electronics industry. But we have divulged out to a lot of different places. Last year, our core product line was down about 15%, but one of our customers was in medical and making ventilator parts, and we tripled our business with them last year to the point where we actually grew and had a great year. Being diverse is very important. It's something that we've talked about for years. So when we moved out of my dad's basement in 1982, our top customer was 98% of our business. We still have that customer. We have them down to 25% of our business, but we've grown with them. But we've brought in many other customers over the years. A lot of it's medical, but most of it is in the liquids and gas, pressure vessels, monitoring, measuring, a little bit of aerospace, a little bit of everything, to the point where we have a niche in several different markets.
Well, I'm kind of a numbers guy, Bill, and so what you just said holds weight with me, as in, when we first were getting in business, we had one partner that we did 98% of our work with.
Right.
98%, guys. And you just said we've grown with them over time, but it's only 25% of our business now, and you're talking about carrying a partnership through decades of roller coaster rides and keeping them along, but also adding, as they say, don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? You've decided to, separate some of your business and work with a whole bunch of other partners,
right,
while still maintaining fantastic relationships with your original existing partners, which I know they value.
Yes, it's what we value. We really try to find a partnership with the customer. And I emphasize that with brand new customers. If you want to go find cheap parts, you can beat our price. I guarantee that. If you want quality service from a quality shop, and someone who will do what you want to do, whatever that is in business language, we're there. We've almost fired a customer 20 years ago because price, delivery, attitude, culture with the customer did not fit. We're still with them, but we're doing about a quarter what we used to do, because they come to us for the parts they need us to make, and they go somewhere else for the parts that anybody can make. But we really deal with that long-term relationship. I mean, our one customer we've had for 60 years, and we've had other customers for 10, 20, 30 years at this point. Customers typically do not leave us. And we worked with a customer out of Tucson, Arizona for about 2 years, and that didn't work out because of management's idea that they could buy inferior parts and get them fixed quicker when they were local. And dealing with a shop halfway across the country, which wasn't local enough, even though he did not have to send his parts back to us to get fixed, he was happier buying cheaper parts that he could get fixed across the street. And when I had that last conversation with them, it was our last conversation, because I can't compete with that.
Right.
I can compete with quality, I can compete with longevity, I can compete with Kanban systems, just-in-time systems, all of that stuff we do. Now, we are the production facility for our customers. We're not just a vendor. We get in with them to the point where they know they can just pick up the phone like we were in an office next door, tell us what they need, and they'll get it.
Well, 60 years with one partner or client, several decades with Maruca. It's obviously a testimony to the quality that you guys have here, to the longevity that you have had and will have throughout. I'm grateful for the opportunity to learn a bit more about Hardy Machine. And if somebody out there is interested in learning more about you, where can they find you?
www.hardymachinellc.com. We have a great website. We have videos on that website of other instances like this one. This one will also be posted on there. So you can see what we're doing. You can see the machines we have. You can also email us. We have contacts on that website. It's the best way to see who we are, what we're doing. There's testimonials on there from our customers. So that website is kept up to date, and it is who we are.
And can someone who's interested in maybe finding work with you guys also go to the website to talk to you?
They can, and we were just discussing that yesterday, that we're going to update that on there, but there is a place on there that says we're hiring. Click here.
Excellent. Well, Bill, thank you so much for sharing your time with me. I appreciate you teaching me a bit more about Hardy Machine. What a fantastic place to be. Thank you for talking with MTD CNC Global, and I appreciate your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.